Microsoft and AMD changed the SAP and Intel stories. Just when big tech bears look set to pounce, quarterly earnings reports from Microsoft and AMD may have changed the story for investors. Conspicuously absent from AMD's report was any mention of the kind of slowdown in data center buying Intel CEO Bob Swan alluded to during the most recent Intel quarterly earnings report. As this excerpt from a transcript of the AMD call reports, AMD is doing just fine, thank you, in the data center. It also looks like they are taking share from Intel. So when the CEO of AMD mentions turning to server, or the CFO rather, we set a record for quarterly server processor revenue as sales grew at double-digit percentage sequentially and more than doubled year over year, driven by growing cloud and enterprise adoption. The conclusion is there's no slowdown for AMD in the data center. However, it should be noted that Intel has been reported as having as high as a 98 or 99% of coverage in the data center. So for AMD to double or double-digit growth isn't a high hurdle to overcome. And then also the fact that they're selling their hardware, their semis, to Microsoft and also to Amazon and Google indicates that they're taking share from Intel in the big data centers that are powering infrastructure as a service and software as a service cloud business. So moving along to the Microsoft report, where SAP moaned about its struggle making numbers on the comparatively lower cost of annual subscriptions versus shrink wrap for on-premises software, Microsoft blew out all analyst profit estimates and recorded yet another 50% expansion in its Azure cloud business. Or almost so. It was actually a 48% increase year over year. The only sticking point in the Microsoft report, purely from the Wall Street analyst perspective, was a subdued forecast for coming quarter revenue. Microsoft's stock price dipped to the tune of approximately 1% after hours and post-earnings conference call. Nevertheless, where SAP was unwilling to commit to any forecast whatsoever for the coming quarter, Microsoft provided one just shy of what analysts were looking for. And since this video script was written and Microsoft reported its earnings report, this dip of approximately 1% might have more to do with Xbox and the delay of Halo as an extremely popular game, the next version of Halo, and personnel changes with regards to the content team powering Xbox for Microsoft than it does with Azure or etc. Microsoft provided one just shy of what analysts were looking for in the form of its prediction, its forecast. Bottom line, despite all of the gloom and doom threats of big tech bears, Microsoft is still making a boatload of money and doesn't look to be moving away from the profits table anytime soon. I think we will see a similar report for Amazon AWS unit, and we did in fact see that, and probably an upside surprise for Google's cloud business. Yes, we did see that as well, which, by the way, is doing quite well under the management of Thomas Kurian, the leader Google hired away from Oracle. And by the way, our company, IMB Enterprises, is an advisory firm, and we do like the Oracle sales method, if we can use that kind of phrase, of focusing on industries and providing differentiated products on an industry-by-industry basis. So Thomas Kurian, a leader at Oracle when these methods were created, is now leading Google Cloud, which is a great win for Google. Big tech investors' flight trajectory is for sure hitting some turbulence and may not subside until sometime after the U.S. presidential election. But until Main Street comes back, big tech will remain the only profitable show in town. If for no other reason than defense, big investors will need to hold on to their FANG MG shares as they weather the comeback trail for the rest of the U.S. economy over the next 6 months to a year or more. My name is Ira Michael Blonder. I'm the CEO and founder of AMD Enterprises Incorporated. I bring to my commentaries over 40 years consistent experience working with new technologies. I began with the private cable television business, the master antenna television business. I then went over to emerging computer hardware devices in the form of a stint of about 7 years with a company that morphed into Net Silicon, which was acquired by Digi International with an RS-232 code-activated switch. And now I've spent several years working with a enterprise software business marketing a help solution for Office 365, Microsoft SharePoint, and other web platforms. So I have a lot of experience I can share, and our team can certainly do the same. And if you have a notion, short calls are always free. I don't charge for those. So if you'd like to give us a shout to see what we think of something, please don't hesitate to do so. My phone number is 631-673-2929. Our webpage is https://www.imbenterprises.com, and my personal Twitter page is @MikeTheBebop. And speak with you next week.